I'm joined today by the Deputy Borough Coordinator of Ealing Cycle Campaign, Geraldine O'Grady, and we're here today to discuss the safety of our roads for cyclists. Now, Geraldine, firstly, I'd like to talk about the march that the campaign organised and orchestrated on the 28th of October. It was in response to the tragic loss of life that occurred down at the Lido Junction, which, for those who are unaware of where the Lido Junction is, it's the intersection at which the Uxbridge Road and Northfields Avenue meet. The march itself started here at Ealing Town Hall, which is just behind us, and it went down to the aforementioned junction. Now, Geraldine, I'd like to discuss the march. How did the march go? How was it orchestrated? And could you just tell us a bit more about it?
Yes. Well, we were all really shocked with the death on the Lido Junction, and some people knew Claudia personally. So we decided that we would get a group together to commemorate her life and also ask the council to do more around safety on the Uxbridge Road. We also wanted to make it quite inclusive, so it's not actually Ealing Cycling, it is the Make Uxbridge Road Safer campaign, and it incorporates all users, so young people, parents with young children, disabled and cyclists. So we got together and we decided that our first course of action should be to have a demonstration. So we met here at the town hall and walked all the way up to the Lido Junction, where we stopped. We blocked the junction and had a minute's silence for Claudia. And what was really impressive was the cars. People mentioned to the cars why we were stopping the traffic, and it was very calm and nobody objected to it. We then moved on to Dean's Garden, where we spoke about Claudia. So it was a very moving, very moving moment.
Well, I'm glad to hear that that people turned up and were so respectful, to be honest, towards her. And additionally, that the march itself went so well. I mean, better than, you may have anticipated initially, which is wonderful. What I mean to touch upon next is that obviously over the past few years, Ealing Council have invested, a few thousands of pounds into making our roads safer for cyclists. There is something of an awareness that they need to, they actually need to consider, the safety of cyclists to a greater degree. I mean, the council leader is, Julian Bell. He is a self-professed cycling enthusiast himself. But what does the campaign feel could be done around the borough? Maybe in terms of introducing more cycle lanes or increasing cyclist or road safety awareness in general. What sort of things does the campaign believe could be done?
So the reason we chose the Uxbridge Road as a focus is that it only represents 2% of the road network, and yet a third of cyclists that have been killed in the London Borough of Ealing have been killed on the Uxbridge Road. And in terms of other injuries, including minor injuries, 20% of injuries to pedestrians on roads is on the Uxbridge Road and 25% for cyclists. So that's why we've focused on the Uxbridge Road. And as part of that, Make Uxbridge Road Safe, is the first step was to have the protest. So the second step was to have a petition. So we need to get 1,500 signatures, which I think we've reached that now, which is brilliant. And what we want is the council to debate cycle safety in the borough and also safety for other road users. So we're going to table that they carry out a survey of the Uxbridge Road, a review of the Uxbridge Road, looking at particular black spots and putting some action in place to make them safer. The other aspect is we want the review to look at the standards which are set out by Transport for London, so that we will have a safer infrastructure.
Now, unfortunately, the loss of life of the aforementioned resident is not the only one that's actually occurred over the past few months in our borough. On the 9th of November, another resident was killed in a tragic accident, this time on South Road in Southall. Now, I wouldn't care to speculate as to the details of the incident, but nonetheless, when these things are considered, and you also look at the fact that we are a London borough, it can be very intimidating for people to get started cycling or to venture out onto these roads for the first time. What advice would you give to novices in terms of getting started and in regards to the fear of accidents?
It's not as risky as you think. So we would encourage everybody to consider cycling. I mean, one of the things that we do is to liaise with the council on schemes to make it safer. And what we'd really like to see is to have segregated cycling. That may be not always possible, but we would like to have better facilities for cyclists.
Now, as for the campaign itself, you guys offer a lot of services to the community. You do a lot for the community. Could you tell us about some of those services that are on offer?
Well, Ealing Cycling Campaign, we're part of the London Cycling Campaign. So we provide information. Whenever there's events, if we're asked to come along, we'll set up an information stall, have a doctor bike. We also meet once a month. So the first Wednesday of the month we meet at the Questors Theatre. We campaign, liaise with the council, and we also have social rides to try and encourage people to get more into cycling.
Could you tell us about some of the various schemes that are operating in the borough to help people get started?
Yes. Well, I think it's the council's aspiration that everybody from 8 to 80 will get involved in cycling, and we're very lucky that there's quite a number of ways that you can get involved with cycling. So the council have on their website, you can book a free lesson, and I would actually recommend anybody to take that, whether you've been cycling for 20 years or you're just starting. Somebody from the campaign who's been cycling 20 years recently did a 1 hour lesson, and he said it's actually really, improved his cycling, so that's a great thing to do. In terms of equipment, you don't need any special clothes. All you need is a bike, and if you choose a helmet. So if you've got a bike in your shed, you can get it out. The council have 5 doctor bikes a month, so you can take it along to Doctor Bike, get it checked over, make sure it's roadworthy and that you'll be safe. If you haven't got a bike, very luckily, we've got the London Bike Hub in Greenford, and they actually refurbish bikes, so you can buy a second-hand bike from them. There are various schemes, what I think used to be called Borough bikes. You could try one of those, or there's a new one, I think O-Bike, where you can register to have an app, so you can do that. To get your confidence up. And then if you're really uncomfortable with cycling, it's a good idea to maybe go on a social ride. So Ealing Cycling Campaign have monthly social rides on the first Sunday of the month, but there's also one called The Breeze, which is specifically aimed at women, so that it just gives you confidence to cycle in a group, feel comfortable, get a little bit more road safety. So other things that are available in the borough, the London Bike Hub also run maintenance courses. So right from very basic how to repair a puncture up onto advanced maintenance, and also Brompton bikes. So they're really useful, and also to encourage women to get back into cycling. They have a scheme where women can get bike seats for children.
And I've been onto your website, which by the way can be found at ealingcycling.org.uk, and I've noticed that there is a ride section. Could you tell us about any upcoming rides?
Yes, our next ride is on the 3rd of December, and that leaves from Ealing Town Hall at 10 o'clock, so if you want to join us, be here by 9:45, and that's going to Osterley Park. So it'll be a gentle ride and it won't be too long, so suitable for all cyclists.
So if there are any professional cyclists, any aspiring cyclists, any amateur cyclists of all kinds, please check out the website if you're at all interested. Otherwise, I'm James Challoner, this is Exposure Box TV, thanks for watching.